Test one, two, test one, two, test one, two, test one, two. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am Juanqui and welcome to my world. We meet again for our 12th profile on this Black History Month, holding 30 seconds, and then we'll get right to it. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I hope you are doing well. We have warmed up in New York City. Thank God. We kiss 40s today. Yes, we kiss 40s. The snow is still out, but we kiss 40. They are talking about a little bit more snow this weekend. All right, well, we shall see. Anyway, if you have stumbled upon my channel, I am Juanqui and welcome to my world. I'm a cornucopia of stuff. And for this Black History Month, I'm coming through live every single night and giving you a profile or something Black History related to discuss. Tonight, we are going to be reading an essay that was featured in the Landscape magazine. It's an online magazine. Regarding Frederick Douglass. We mentioned him yesterday. If you haven't caught that video, please make sure you check it out. New York City recently discovered what I'm going to call a stop in the Underground Railroad in this house, this building. I actually walk by there all the time, especially back when I was in college and hanging out in the Village. It's on East 4th Street. That's all NYU town down there. And I used to walk by it. You know, it's like another brownstone in a block full of brownstones. But I guess it's a museum. And they recently this year, like this month, like last week, in that museum, okay, they were preserving it as a period house, a period brownstone, right? But they discovered this dresser drawer that had access to a tunnel underneath the house, and then the historians came through and they have determined that that was a stop in the Underground Railroad. Now, I was reading yesterday's essay and the name Frederick Douglass came up, so I thought it would be smart of us to do his profile next. So I'm going to be reading an essay that was featured in the Landscape magazine. The essay was written by Brando Simeo Starkey. Okay, Brando Simeo Starkey. Okay, Frederick Douglass, he was an abolitionist and an author. Born in 1818, my God, 1818, and departed in 1895. The quote of the essay starts with, because his voice rose from the horror of slavery to challenge the denial of black humanity. Drop a bomb on that. Here we go. A slave, a free person among slaves, a free person who must still fight for full emancipation. Every black person who has called America home has existed in one of these three states. Frederick Douglass endured them all and spoke to these unique human conditions while demanding complete black inclusion in the American experiment. With his autobiography, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, published in 1845. Okay, his book, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, was published in 1845. Douglass provided arguably the most influential slave narrative. Born in Maryland in 1818, the son of a slave of a slave mother and a white father. Oh my God. Oh my God. I know what went on. I studied what went on. I took courses in college of what went on. But every time I see it in writing or I hear it, it just sends chills down my spine. Let me take that line again. Born in Maryland in 1818, the son of a slave mother and a white father, possibly his owner, Douglass escaped bondage by fleeing north. Through his vivid portrayals of brutality, the severing of familiar bonds, and mental torture, he documented the iniquity of the peculiar institution and disproved the Southern propaganda of the happy slave. Douglass rose to prominence in the abolitionist movement partly due to his personal experience of having lived as chattel, but also he knew how to enrapture an audience. Oh my God, this okay, I get it. But you need to make the text so that high schoolers can read. Drop a bomb on that. I get it, writer. I get it, but if you're really trying to communicate who this man was, like I'm a college educated graduate and I'm having a hard time. Like really. Let me take that again. Listen, you're going to get the real and the rawness over here. Okay. I get it. I understand. But I would love for a high schooler to be able to understand your writing. Douglass rose to prominence in the abolitionist movement partly due to his personal experience of having lived as chattel. But also he knew how to enrapture an audience. One observer described him as striking memorable. Quote, he was more than 6 feet in height, and his majestic form, as he rose to speak, straight as an arrow, muscular yet lithe and graceful, his flashing eyes, and more than all, his voice, and vivaled Webster's in its richness and in the depth and sonorousness of his. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I need a minute. I'm not doing it. Fuck this. I'm not. Now I'm going to have to go to Google, go on AI mode. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what pompous writer. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. You're supposed to disseminate the information, not make it so difficult that a damn college graduate is having a hard time with these freaking words. Here we go. See, you could have had a captivated audience. I'm scratching that essay and I'm going with, Frederick Douglass, 1818, departed 1895, was a prominent American social reformer, abolitionist, orator, and statesman who became the leading voice of the 19th century civil rights movement. Born into slavery in Maryland, he escaped to freedom and dedicated his life to achieving equality for all people, famously declaring that, and I quote, "Right is of no sex, truth is of no color," end of quote. Life and major contributions. Escape to freedom. Born Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey, he escaped slavery in September 1838 by disguising himself as a sailor and traveling north to New York City with the help of his future wife, Anne Murray. Abolitionist leader. He gained international fame for his powerful oratory and anti-slavery writings. He published 3 autobiographies, most notably Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave, 1845, which became a bestseller and provided a factual rebuttal to the pro-slavery arguments. Journalism. He founded and edited several influential newspapers, including the North Star in Rochester, New York, which served as the platform for abolition and women's rights. Political career. During the Civil War, he advised President Abraham Lincoln on the treatment of black soldiers and the importance of emancipation. He later held several high ranking government posts, including U.S. Marshal for D.C., Recorder of Deeds, and the U.S. Minister to Haiti. Women's suffrage. Douglass was a supporter of women's rights and was the only African American attendee at the 1848 Seneca Falls Convention. Some quick facts. Birth. He never knew his exact birthday, but chose to celebrate it on February 14. Oh my God, look at that. What a coincidence. Photography. He was the most photographed American of the 19th century, believing that portraits could challenge racial stereotypes. Legacy. His home, Cedar Hill, is preserved as a National Historic Site in Washington, D.C. All right. Okay. So this is what I got from the quick AI on Google, which, by the way, I should point out, I'm surprised that the AI gave me this real quick, because yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, when I was trying to do some more research on the Underground Railroad, you know how when you go on Google and you put something in the search bar, you get the choice of AI mode, all images, video, shopping, news, short videos, books, a whole bunch of different tabs, right? Well, when I went to put Underground Railroad, it did not give me AI at all. It didn't give me AI at all. AI mode, it did not give me AI mode at all. And then I was like, how could, so then I took that off. I re-clear my thing. I put the word pizza and it gave me AI mode. Now, I'm not trying to make no conspiracies, but we all know where Google, we all know who Google is in bed with and the whole nine, right? Okay. Anyway, so, yes, Frederick Douglass, escaped to freedom. I believe that they were trying to bring him back. I haven't seen anything, if I remember correctly, from when I learned this in school. If I remember this correctly, I believe he was trying to go back, or they were trying to capture him and bring him back, right? Let me just see. Hold on. My black button is on point today. Let's do a little bit more. Okay. What were his most famous speeches or writings? Let's talk a little bit about his speeches and writings, because he was a good, he gave a lot of speeches and he wrote a lot. I wish they would tell us a little bit more about how he learned to, how he did schooling, since slaves were not allowed to do schooling. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly from my previous studies, that he was self-taught, something like that, right? Frederick Douglass was a prolific writer and an orator whose work was central to the abolitionist and civil rights movements. His most famous contributions included 3 autobiographies and several landmark speeches. Major writings. Douglass is best known for his 3 autobiographies, which chronicled his journey from enslavement to international leadership. The first one is, like I mentioned before, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave, 1845. Second one is My Bondage and My Freedom, 1855. And this is an expanded version of his first book that provides deeper psychological insight and details his life as a free man. Then after that, it was followed by Life and Times of Frederick Douglass, 1881. Then they did a revision in 1892. This was his final biography covering his later career in public service and post-Civil War era. And then there was another one. I don't think this was done by him. I think this was done by somebody else. But it's the heroic slave, 1853. Douglas' only work of fiction. Oh, he had a work of fiction, a novella inspired by a real life slave. Very, very, very accomplished. Some of his most famous speeches were, "What to the slave is the 4th of July, 1852." He gave this speech, widely considered his greatest speech, delivered in Rochester, New York. It powerfully highlighted the hypocrisy of a nation celebrating liberty while millions remained enslaved. I just got chills reading that. What to the slave is the 4th of July. Another speech that was one of his most famous speeches is called The Self-Made Man. It's 1859, and this was an address praising self-reliance, hard work, and the pursuit of knowledge as paths to success. Then he had another one entitled Men of Color to Arms, ! 1863. And this was a recruiting speech during the Civil War using black men to join the Union Army to fight for their own freedoms. Look at all those writings. First of all, y'all know that he had to write all of these speeches out and then convey them and deliver them in a way that he took the audience in a journey and got them to, see his vision for each of these speeches, right? The Composite Nation, 1869, a forward-thinking speech in which he envisioned a multicultural America that included and protected people of all races and origins. Drop a bomb on that. We got 2 more speeches. Next one is the Oration in Memory of Abraham Lincoln, 1876. Delivered at the dedication of the Freedmen's Monument, offering an assessment of Lincoln's legacy. And finally, Lessons of the Hour, 1894. His final major speech, which addressed the rising tide of lynching and racial violence in the Jim Crow South. Drop a bomb. I am actually intrigued and curious, and I think I'm going to pick up one of his speeches. I'm interested in that speech. I'm interested in the final speech and the first major speech that he gave, which is "What to the Slave is the 4th of July." I'm going to research those, and I'm going to read those, and I'm going to then come through and give you my opinion. Definitely, and a very accomplished man, self-taught, escaped for freedom, was able to maintain his freedom, and definitely a notable figure in history. Give it up. I often say, I would say he walked so that we can run, but given the state of things and given how people rather sit at home because their quote unquote vote don't count and we're not going to give it to a black woman, okay? He ran so that we could just sit on a damn couch and not do anything. Drop a bomb on that. Okay? See, next time you want to stay home, think of these type of men who sacrifice so much and put so much at stake so that you could stay at home rolling up because you don't really believe in politics and, well, my vote ain't really going to count. And now look where the F we are. With that said, I will see you guys tomorrow for our 13th profile. Thank you for coming through. Please hit like, subscribe, hit the notification button. I'm trying to be as professional as possible this month. Okay? If I went off the rails today, I apologize. I just don't like. Come on, get the information out. Get the information out so that if a high school student is doing their term paper, their research paper, they understand what the heck. It's no need to do this. Have a good night, everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.